In this class, we will discuss about the probability and probability distributions. So, in your earlier classes, I have studied about probability. So, it is defined like this: P is equal to M by N, where M is the number of favorable events for which we have to find out the probability. N is the total number of possible events. So, therefore, P is called as probability of occurrence of an event or occurring of an event. Example I will give. Suppose if you take the simple example of a tossing of a coin, either you will get a head. If you toss a coin, either you will get head or tail. So suppose what is the probability of getting head is 1 divided by total possibility is 2. Either you can get head or tail. So 1 by 2, that is 0.5. Similarly, getting tail, so probability also is 1 by 2. If you take the example of a die, so which has got 6 faces. So a die has got 6 faces. It's like a cube, like this. A cube has got 6 faces. So on each face, numbers will be written like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. So if you throw a die, definitely there is only one possibility, only one number will appear on the top. So therefore, we can say that probability of getting 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 is 1 by 6. Suppose if you want 1 to come on the top, so your favorable event is 1 divided by total event or total possibility is 6. So either it can be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So therefore, 1 by 6 is the probability of getting 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Suppose if you want to find the probability of getting an odd number, so out of these 6, odd numbers are 1, 3, 5. So there are 3 possibilities. Either it can be 1 or it can be 3 or it can be 5. So therefore, number of favorable events will be 3, divided the total number of events is 6. So 3 by 6, that is 0.5. Similarly, probability of getting even number is even numbers are 2, 4, 6. So therefore, the probability is 3 by 6 only. So this is how we can find out the probability. So in other words, what we can say here is, if P is the probability of occurrence of an event and Q is the probability of not occurring of an event, then their sum will be equal to 1. That is, P plus Q is equal to 1 or Q is equal to 1 minus P. That means, if you take any one, for example, in this case, getting head, it is half. Not getting head is also half only. That means it should be tail. So 1 minus half will be probability of getting not head. Similarly, probability of getting not tail, then it is also 1 minus half. That is half only. Suppose if you are finding here, let us say you want to have getting only odd number, that is also same as 1 minus probability of getting even number. That is 1 minus 0.5 is also 0.5. So like that. So occurring and non-occurring. So occurring is P, non-occurring is Q. So therefore, if you add the probabilities, then you get 1. For example, if Q is equal, if not occurring Q is 0.3, then P will be 1 minus 0.3. That is 0.7. Probability of occurrence will be 0.7. If the probability of not occurrence is 0.3. Similarly, if probability of occurring P is 0.2, then probability of non-occurring is 1 minus P, which is 1 minus 0.2, which is 0.8. This is how we have to find occurring and non-occurring. Now, in association with probability, you have to define one important term called random variable. Random variable, which is denoted by capital X. So random variable can be defined like this: it is a real variable associated with every outcome of a random experiment. These are all random experiments, tossing of a coin, throwing a dice. So these are all random experiments. If you start assigning a value for each outcome of the experiment as a variable, then as a real variable, then that variable is called as random variable. Random means it can change. It is not constant. That is the meaning. For example, if you take a tossing of a coin example, if 1 is associated with getting head, I am going to give number 1. If head is obtained, I am going to give the number as 1. Then we say that x of h is equal to 1. X means it is random variable. H means getting head is 1. If you are assigning 0 for getting tail, then x of t will be 0. The range is defined like this, either it can be 0 or 1. So only two possibilities are possible. So therefore it is defined as range. So range means it is nothing but your total occurrences. So 0, 1 is defined as the range. That means you are going to give some number, real number to each outcome. So for head I am giving 1, for tail I am giving 0. Then the value of the random variable will be 1 if you get head. The value of the random variable will be 0 if you get tail. That is the meaning. Only two possibilities are there. In random variable we have two types. One is discrete random variable, another is continuous random variable. So two variables are there. So discrete means it takes finite number of values, and that means a number of values are finite. You can count the number of values. That means it is restricted. 10 readings, 20 readings, 30 readings, like that. That is called as discrete. Example, tossing a coin or throwing a die. That is an example for discrete random variable, because suppose if you are doing 10 experiments, 10 times if you are tossing a coin, you are going to get 10 readings. If you are throwing die 20 times, then you are going to get 20 readings. So it is restricted, number is restricted. Tossing coins and observing only head. Suppose for the same thing, if you are tossing 2 coins or 3 coins and observing all the coins are getting head only, that is also number is restricted. So if you are doing some 50 experiments, number of experiments are restricted. If you are doing some 50 experiments, out of 50 experiments, if you are getting 20 heads, both are finite. 50 is also finite number, countable number. 20 is also countable number. Then such variables are called as discrete. Discrete means it can be countable. It is finite. Whereas if you go to continuous random variable, it takes infinite number of values in the interval of real numbers. That means continuous means there is no fixed number. It is infinite number. For example, weight of articles. So for if you suppose if you go on weighing an article, so the weight of an article can vary from some 1 gram to some tons. Is it not? So there is a large variation. It is not limited. That means you can say the values are not finite. You can have infinite numbers. Similarly, speedometer readings. When you are riding a bike, if you observe the speedometer, it will be oscillating like this. So each and every moment, that reading will be different. So that is why it can be taken as a continuous random variable. Similarly, life of electric bulbs. One electric bulb may have a life of 3 months, another electric bulb may have a life of 4 months, another maybe 1 year. Like that, different. If you do experiment and if you say the survey, you can take survey of life of electric bulbs. So then it can have any number of readings. That is why it is called as continuous random variable. So discrete means it is limited number. Continuous means within the given value you can have infinite number of values of real numbers. That is the meaning of continuous random variable. Next we will go to distributions. So discrete and continuous. Once again there are two types of probability distributions. The first one is discrete probability distribution. Let us see what is discrete probability distribution. For each value xi of a discrete random variable x, a capital X is the random variable, xi is the value. For example, here I am giving 0 and 1, that is your xi value. Xi is a value, particular value, x is the variable. So there is a real number p of xi is equal to pi such that, so this pi is the probability such that the probability is always greater than or equal to 0. You have to remember that. Always the probability is positive. So always probability is positive. Greater than or equal to means it is positive only. And another thing is, if you add the probabilities of all the values, if you add the probabilities of all the values, it should be equal to 1. So like this, p plus q is equal to 1. That means, for example, if I take this or this, getting head it is half, getting tail it is half. If you add them, you are going to get 1. Half plus half is equal to 1. Similarly here, getting 1 is 1 by 6, getting 2 is 1 by 6, getting 3 is 1 by 6, getting 4 is 1 by 6, getting 5 is 1 by 6, getting 6 is 1 by 6. If you add all of them, 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6, 6 times, you are going to get 1. Correct? So that is the meaning of this. If you add, these two conditions should be satisfied. Then we say that it is a discrete probability distribution, and we are going to define two important functions called capital P of x and small f of x. Here, capital P of x is called as PDF, probability density function. So what are the set of values? For every value of xi, you have a value of pxi. Just like your x and y, which you did in statistics, we got some relationship, correlation coefficient and all, So like that, for a given value of xi, you will be having a probability p of xy. The set of these values is called as the probability density function, denoted by capital P of x. And another function which is f of x, cumulative distribution function, CDF. It is denoted as CDF, which is defined as P. It is a probability of x less than or equal to small x. Please note that here capital X is the random variable, small x is the value. It is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to x P of x, where x is an integer. So x is an integer here. It is not a what you can say. It cannot be a real number. It can be a real number, but it can be a fraction. So integer means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are called as integers. So when x is an integer, the summation of this itself is called as cumulative. Cumulative means adding. So it is called as cumulative distribution function. Now if you find the mean, variance and standard deviation, these are very important in statistics. So this probability and statistics, they are interrelated. Mean is denoted by mu here. I am going to denote it as mu, or in some books they denote it as x bar. So mu is denoted as mean is denoted by mu. Mu is given by sigma xi into p of xi I, like this. So this is mu. Then variance is defined as sigma I xi minus mu whole square into p of xi. So this is denoted as variance, and square root of this variance is called as standard deviation, which is denoted by sigma. So this formula you should remember, mean and variance formula, because in a problem they may give the mean and variance and they may ask you to find the distribution. So this is how the discrete probability distribution is defined. So that means I have explained about probability of occurrence and non-occurrence, that is P and Q. The sum of them will be equal to 1, P plus Q is equal to 1. Then what is a random variable and what is capital X and what is small x, with an example. Then there are two types of random variable, discrete and continuous. Discrete means it has got finite number of values, whereas continuous means it has got infinite number of values within a boundary between the interval. Then probability distribution, discrete probability distribution, we have two definitions. One is probability density function PDF, another is CDF. Two important things are there. One is all the probability values will be greater than or equal to 0. That means all the values are positive. Probability cannot be negative. So second thing is, if you add all the probabilities of all the events, then it will be equal to 1. So these two important conditions we have to follow. Then the mean of a discrete probability distribution is given by mu is equal to this, and variance is given by this, and standard deviation sigma is the square root of the variance. So this is what the fundamentals we have to learn. Then next class I am going to take up some numericals. Then I will go to there are three important distributions you have to study. One is binomial distribution, second one is Poisson distribution, third one is normal distribution. So then lastly chi-square test. So that I will explain later. First, now I will take up some problems on this probability distribution in the next class. Then next video, and then I will take up in each video I will take up binomial, Poisson and